Breaking tonight, an unbelievable new twist in the so-called debate over free speech spreading across U.S. college campuses, as one student government reportedly rejects a plan to honor the victims of September 11th over worries that acknowledging a tragedy by, quote, non-white perpetrators could, quote, increase racist attitudes on campus. That's where we are today. Welcome to the Kelly File, everyone. I'm Megyn Kelly. Students say there are currently no annual September 11th ceremonies at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities campus. But just this week, one young man's proposal to have them every year was rejected, with the student director of diversity and inclusion saying, quote, it might make a space that is unsafe for students even more unsafe. We have also seen national attention this week on a similar debate at Yale, where administrators are trying to convince angry young people at Yale that the exchange of ideas, offensive or not, is the foundation of higher learning, not to mention the First Amendment. While at the University of Missouri, where students were told this week to call campus police if they heard offensive speech or insulting speech, the vice president of the student body, the vice president, is now making the case that citing the Bill of Rights is really no excuse for infringing on her safe space.
I personally am tired of hearing that First Amendment rights protect students when they are creating a hostile and unsafe learning environment for myself and for other students here. I think that it's important for us to create that distinction and create a space where we can all learn from one another and start to create a place of healing rather than a place where we're experiencing a lot of hate like we have in the past.
Joining me now, Dershowitz, a Harvard Law professor and Yale Law School graduate who himself has experienced a tense experience on a college campus recently. He's also author of the new book, Abraham, the world's first, but certainly not last, Jewish lawyer. Great to see you, Professor. So,
thank you.
All right. I mean, I think the viewers know where I stand on this. I've made it very clear. However, let me take the position of the young woman we just saw. We have rules in corporations that say you can't talk a certain way and work here. They say, why can't we have those same rules on college campuses? You can't talk that way. You can't say those things because this is an institution. This is a place where you shouldn't have to be subjected to that.
Well, these are the same people who claim they're seeking diversity. The last thing many of these students want is real diversity, diversity of ideas. They may want superficial diversity of gender, superficial diversity of color, but they don't want diversity of ideas. We're seeing a curtain of McCarthyism descend over many college campuses. You know, I don't want to make analogies to the 1930s, but we have to remember that it was the students at universities who first started burning books during the Nazi regime. And these students are book burners. They don't want to hear diverse views on college campuses. When I went to speak at Johns Hopkins University, there were protests. It was said that because I won't acknowledge that Israel commits crimes against the Palestinians, I am, quote, harassing students and violating the ethical standards of Johns Hopkins University. By expressing my opinion, I'm harassing students. This has become a very serious problem, not only in American universities, but in universities around the world as well. And it is influencing and having a terrible impact on the education of students.
You have spent your life in a courtroom and on college campuses, on one in particular, and it is an elite institution. When you go to college, you know, as my 100-year-old Nana would say, at least it was when I went to school, you go and you express your freedom and you find it's young adulthood and you want to do all sorts of things and you don't want anybody getting all up in your business. But now they're demanding that the school get all up in everybody's business, and the freedom has to stop when it comes to words.
No, it's the worst kind of hypocrisy. They want complete freedom over their sex lives, over their personal lives, over the use of drugs. But they want mommy and daddy, dean and president to please give them a safe place, protect them from ideas that may be insensitive and maybe will make them think. But it's a double standard. Look at what's happening at Hunter University, City University of New York. Students from the Students for Justice for Palestine have issued a petition saying Zionist administrators are causing high tuition in the school. Zionist administrators, you know what they mean by Zionists? They mean Jews. Blatant anti-Semitism. Nobody says a word. When I spoke at Johns Hopkins University, some of the protesting students, the same students who were talking about safe places, painted a Hitler mustache on my posters. No concern about that. It's an absolute double standard. It is free speech for me, but not for thee. be, and universities should not tolerate this kind of hypocrisy, double standard, and college administrators have to start treating students as adults and talking back to them.
Where, as somebody who's been in academia, where is the spine of these administrators?
They're all afraid. They're all afraid. After Larry Summers got fired from Harvard, after the president of Missouri gets fired, college administrators don't want to have to confront students. Well, if you're going to be a college administrator or a professor, if you have tenure, you have to speak back to the students. You have to call these things what they are. Double standard, hypocrisy, bigotry, McCarthyism, and the fog of fascism is descending quickly over many American universities. We have to fight back against these students.
The duty to educate doesn't walk out the door just because things get tense and uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
Professor Dershowitz, thank you for being here.
Thank you.